Tonight, Donald Trump took to social media at 8:09 a.m. to publicly lash out against China after a roller coaster few days for Trump's illegal tariffs that were first blocked. Then they were confirmed blocked by a federal court. Then they were temporarily reinstated. Donald Trump accused China of violating a trade truce that he claims the two countries agreed to earlier this month. He posted, quote, "I made a fast deal with China in order to save them from what I thought was going to be a very bad situation. And I didn't want to see that happen because of this deal, everything quickly stabilized and China got back to business as usual. China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, this part's in all caps, has totally violated its agreement with us. So much for being Mr. Nice Guy." Donald Trump didn't specify how China violated the agreement with the United States, but it didn't stop him from repeating that allegation.
Are you going to reinstate the tariffs on China? You said that they violated the agreement with the U.S.
Well, they did. They violated a big part of the agreement we made. You know, if you read that whole statement, I was very nice to them. I helped them because they were in trouble with the stoppage of a massive amount of business. But I'm sure that I'll speak to President Xi and hopefully we'll work that out. But yeah, there's a violation of the agreement.
Never any specifics. Today, Bloomberg News reported that the Trump administration is planning to extend sanctions on China's tech sector. Donald Trump's antagonistic approach to trade with China has J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon sounding the alarm. At an economic forum this morning, he said this.
We have problems, and we got to deal with them. And then the biggest one, underlying both that, is the enemy within. I'm not as worried about China. China is a potential adversary. They're doing a lot of things well. They have a lot of problems. What I really worry about is us. Can we get our own act together, our own values, our own capability, our own management?
Now, that's the important point here. It's not that there aren't things to deal with China, but we seem to have more things to deal with here at home. According to the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, Donald Trump's latest outburst seems to stem from China's reluctance to lift restrictions on rare earth metals.
The Chinese are slow rolling their compliance, which is completely unacceptable and has to be addressed. We haven't seen the flow of some of those critical minerals as they were supposed to be doing.
Now, these rare earths, U.S. automakers, for instance, rely heavily on those metals, yet Donald Trump seems determined to continue to sell this fantasy that's actually disconnected from our manufacturing and economic reality.
All of the manufacturers will build their parts here, too. I mean, it used to bother me. They make a part in Canada, a part in Mexico, a part in Europe, and sent all over the place, and nobody knew what the hell was happening. I think it's ridiculous. You build a car, make it in America, and I gave them a little leeway on that, gave them some leeway, but over the next year, they've got to have the whole thing built in America. That's what we want.
A part in Canada, a part in Mexico, a part in Europe, and nobody knows what the hell is happening. Car production and sales span continents. The engine might be designed in Germany. The lithium battery components might come from Canada. The parts might be assembled in Mexico. And yes, they might all come together in Michigan or Ohio or Kentucky. Quote, they've got to have the whole thing built in America, end quote, does not reflect anything about either the automobile industry or, for that matter, the entire global economy in 2025. It does not reflect the reality in this country either. The factories to make all the parts to make a car don't exist in America. It would take years to create them, and in many cases, the materials those non-existent factories would need to make the parts that also don't exist in America. Donald Trump's trade rhetoric is not only outdated, it's divorced from reality, and his reaction to it is tariffs. His reaction to everything to do with trade is tariffs. Two federal courts have now said the tariffs are illegal and unconstitutional. In fact, Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution speaks to this very issue. It's crystal clear. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. Now, that's some antiquated language, but it means tariffs. The Congress levies tariffs, not the president, except for a few exceptions where Congress very specifically delegated tariff power to the president. But if Congress doesn't give it to you, you don't have it. And again, according to federal courts, that does not include these Trump tariffs. Even conservative outlets are making the argument that the Trump tariffs are illegal and unconstitutional. The Wall Street Journal editorial board says President Trump isn't a tariff king. The National Review editorial board says the tariff power properly belongs with Congress. Today, The Atlantic's Ilya Somin writes that Wednesday's ruling from the United States Court of International Trade against Donald Trump's tariffs was, quote, a victory for separation of powers, end quote. She continues, quote, the court ruled that Trump does not have the unbounded authority he claims to impose unlimited tariffs on goods from nearly every country. The British overthrew King Charles I in part because he tried to impose ship money taxes without legislative authorization. The President of the United States is no king, and he does not have the power to impose taxes in the form of tariffs wherever he feels like it. The court's decision upholds this fundamental principle of the Anglo-American constitutional tradition, end quote. Yesterday, Donald Trump's National Economic Council chair called the ruling a, quote, hiccup. In a month or two, you're going to look ahead and see that countries have opened their markets to American products. They've lowered their non-tariff barriers. They've lowered their tariffs. And all the countries that have done that are being treated very respectfully and very well by the United States, end quote. It's Kevin Hassett. The Trump White House has also responded to these rulings against his tariffs by, yet again, attacking the judges who ruled against Donald Trump, which, of course, included a judge that Trump himself appointed. Adam Serwer wrote about this Trump legal strategy earlier this month for The Atlantic in an article entitled, Trump is tired of courts telling him that he's breaking the law. Quote, Chief Justice John Roberts warned in an appearance at Georgetown Law School that the rule of law is endangered. One reason for that is Roberts' own opinion that the president is nearly immune to criminal prosecution for lawbreaking, a finding that has emboldened Trump to ignore the law. Immunity is apparently insufficient, however. Trump also wants the ability to violate the Constitution at will without meaningful resistance from the courts, end quote. I'd only disagree with Adam Serwer in that he wants the ability to ignore the Constitution without any disagreement from the court. In the Oval Office today, Donald Trump defended his tariffs yet again.
Without the tariffs, our nation would be imperiled. We would really be imperiled.
Again, lacking in detail. What is he talking about? The peril is a president who thinks he's the king and that the Constitution doesn't matter. That's the peril, not the tariffs. And no matter what he says, when Donald Trump launches a trade war, we pay for it. When Donald Trump attacks the rule of law, we pay for it. When Donald Trump's tariffs are ruled illegal, he creates more uncertainty and the global economy pays for it and we pay for it. That's not leadership. That is simply chaos.